Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Gautam's Cooking Adventures. In this episode, we will be making Bisi Bele Bhat, and this is split into three distinct steps. One is making the Bisi Bele Bhat masala, followed by cooking the rice, the dal and the vegetables, and finally bring them all together and completing the tempering, which will then finish the whole dish. As always, you will find a copy of the ingredients list in the description below this video. Please like this channel, subscribe to it, and click on the bell icon to be notified all future episodes. Thank you. Bisi Bele Bhat consists of three steps. One is to make a mixture of a bunch of ingredients. Now let's go through the ingredients that are shown here on this plate. This is Chana dal, urad dal, coriander seeds, some curry leaves. This is shaved dry coconut. This is khaskhas or poppy seeds. This is til seeds. Here's the dry spices. So there's some black pepper. There's a little bit of methi seeds, a pinch. There's a couple of green cardamom. There's cinnamon sticks, and there is lavang or cloves. And you have some jeera, and this is Kashmiri chili. So this basically gives you the color, not so much the spice. All of this together is going to be fried initially in a couple of spoons of oil, and then once it's done, kept aside to cool off. And this is what it looks like once it's all fried and cooled. That's the color you want. And this is now then going to be ground into a nice powder. We've transferred the previously roasted ingredients into a mixing bowl. Now remember that we are going to be using a food processor over here, but you can always use your regular mixie to do the same grinding as well. Now here's the ground powder. It's not a smooth but not a very coarse powder. It's kind of, you can feel it grainy, but it's not smooth. So this is the Bisi Bele Bhat powder, the mixture that has to be ground. And as you know, Bisi Bele Bhat, this basically the coarseness gives it that unique feel as you're eating the rice. There's a little bit of a unique coarse masala that you will have on the texture of tongue. The second process is going to consist of cooking the vegetables. Of course, you can choose the kind of vegetables you want. You have a choice of, you can even use drumsticks, you can have various other vegetables. But for today's purpose, we're going to be using some pearl onions, some tomatoes, some pumpkin. Now this is cauliflower, and here you will see a combination of aloo or potatoes that have been cut, and there's some cut beans, and there's some peas, and there's cut carrots. The reason we have all of that in the water is, of course, to keep the aloo from oxidizing, and the rest of them is frozen vegetables, so we're just using that to defrost them. To cook the vegetables, we're going to be using some oil. We're also going to be using ghee, because ghee provides a really nice flavor to it. We've got some tamarind paste. We'll make tamarind juice out of this. It provides the sourness and the tartness. There's some jaggery. It provides the contrasting sweet flavor. There's salt to taste. And finally, at the end of it all, we'll be using these for the tadka. In a large pan, we have the stove at medium, and we're now going to add the vegetables into it. We have about 1.5 cups of water in the vegetables as it is, that the vegetable has been soaking in, and we're just using the same water for the cooking as well. So this is the process of cooking the vegetables. We have not yet added the onions. At this point of time, we're cooking the rest of the vegetables. The onions and the chilies have been kept aside for now. For cooking the vegetables, we're going to keep this cooking in the water as it is. We've not added any salt, we've not added anything else to it, just the plain vegetables in plain water. And we're now going to cook it with a closed lid and allow this to cook for some time. The pumpkin takes a little longer to cook usually, so does the beans. So we need all of these to cook well before we start the next process. While the vegetables are cooking, we are going to start cooking the rice and the dal. We will do that separately. You can use a pressure cooker or a rice cooker, whatever your preference would be. But effectively what you will do is cook the rice and cook the dal, which is tur dal in this case, and have it ready so that when the vegetable is cooked, the rice and the dal is cooked as well, and then you can start putting them all together. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret here. Quite often you're left with rice or dal after from a previous day's cooking, and you can actually use the previously cooked rice and the previously cooked dal to make the Bisi Bele Bhat. So the Bisi Bele Bhat really is a great dish to consider when you want to reuse some of the leftover from the previous day. In our case, that's what we are going to be doing. We already have rice and dal that was left over from the previous day, and we're going to use that in today's preparation. Most of the taste for the Bisi Bele Bhat comes from the Bisi Bele Masala that we ground earlier. But however, each of the vegetables does alter it somewhat because it provides its own flavor as well. So a nice combination of vegetables that are sweet, maybe not as sweet, but a little more basic, earthy, in contrast with one another will actually help build a better taste on the palate. So as the vegetable is cooking, we've also measured out the rice. This is the rice that's already been cooked earlier, and this is the dal that was cooked earlier. This is usually in the ratio of 1:2. So basically 2 measures of rice to 1 measure of dal. We're going to check on the vegetables now. As you can see there, they come to a nice boil. The stove is at medium, a little higher than medium, but we're checking the vegetables to see how well they're cooked. They will need just a little more cooking. So the simple way of measure is to kind of push down. If it can't be cut, then obviously it's still to be cooked. Now in this case, it's just starting to cook a cut, but it gets stuck in the middle, so it's not yet ready. That's what we did with the cauliflower as well and the aloo. Now as we are halfway through the process of cooking this, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So starting with the green chilies that we kept aside, the split green chilies, the onions, and then to this we're going to be adding turmeric powder and some hing or asafoetida, and salt to taste. Give it a quick stir. We will need to add a little more fluid or water in this case to ensure all of the ingredients are nicely, have enough sufficient water to cook with. So we've added about a cup of water additionally to this, and now we're going to cook it again. Bring it back to a boil and then cook it till all of the vegetables are cooked nicely. We're going to go and check on the vegetables. It's been about 5 to 6 minutes since we started cooking after adding the onions. The vegetables look like they are done. We need to test it now. Push down. The aloo is perfect. It's broken down nicely. can check on the pumpkin. That's good. So most of the vegetables will be fairly well cooked by now. We're going to add the tamarind paste to it. Now we could have made the tamarind juice separately, but because we have fluid here, we're just going to add the paste to it. It forms the juice anyway. That was approximately 2 tablespoons of tamarind paste. As you mix it, you will notice that the color of the water is changing to a dark brown, which is thanks to the tamarind paste. That provides the sour, tarty feel to it. We'll just boil this now for a couple of minutes. We want the raw taste of the tamarind to go away, so it gets cooked nicely, and the whole solution gets a nice tamarind sourness to it. The solution will also thicken a bit at this point of time because we're having it on open flame. So if you want, if you think that the water level is reduced, we can always add water at that point of time. But right now, we're good to go. Remember that we're going to be needing some additional water or liquid because we're going to have to put the rice in, and the rice will also absorb some of the water. So that's why I was talking in terms of even if it becomes a little thick, you can always add some water to thin it down. When we add the rice and the dal to the mixture, we will have to compensate for salt at that point of time as well. So remember that you don't necessarily have to have the correct salt amount at this point of time. It's only after you start adding the other ingredients that you need to compensate for whatever salt you may require. It's been a couple of minutes. Now that the raw taste is gone, we're starting to add the dal into the mixture. This is where the Bisi Bele Bhat starts to come together. Give it a nice mix, make sure that it's nicely spread out across everything. The mixture right now almost looks like a sambar without the sambar powder in it, but it looks pretty much like it. We're now going to add to this the jaggery powder. Now remember, the jaggery powder provides the contrast between the spice and the sweet from the jaggery, helps to bring out each of these flavors better in your mouth. Adding salt to taste at this point of time. We can readjust the salt as we keep adding each of the ingredients. Now we're going to add the rice into it. Mix that all together. Some hing. Hing is pretty crucial for most of these preparations because it provides a certain very slight tinge of bitterness, which works really well with the rest of the taste. We're now going to be waiting for the rice to come to a slight boil. Basically, we're what we would call 2 boils. So as you can notice, it's just starting to boil now. And at that point of time, once it has reached that stage of 2 boils, we will add the final item, which is the masala, into this to complete the 3-step process. We've turned the stove to between medium and high. It has now started to boil. As you can see, it's a more consistent boil. We're now ready to start adding the masala at this point of time. The masala that we ground in the beginning. So now we're ready to add the masala to this. So that's the ground masala. This is what is finally going to give it the taste of Bisi Bele Bhat. So we've added 3 tablespoons of the masala that we have ground. We are not going to use all of the masala. We're just going to use as much as is necessary for the preparation that we have in place. The 3 tablespoons would be, in this case, just perfect. You don't want too much masala. You don't want too little either. Now, during the grinding process, if you happen to see some of the chili is not fully ground, it doesn't matter. You can always crush it down if you want with your spoon, but that's okay. Now make sure that you're checking for salt as well at this point of time. This is your last chance to add your salt before you take it off the stove. So the Bisi Bele Bhat is ready. At this point of time, we're going to switch the stove off, or actually take this particular container off the stove, because we have one last process, which is the seasoning process, and that's what we're going to do at this point of time. So we're moving the dish away, and on the same stove we're now going to start doing the seasoning. So we have a large seasoning dish in which we're going to start the seasoning process. For purpose of seasoning, we're going to take a little bit of vegetable oil. We are using sesame oil today, so we've added about 2 tablespoons of oil into this seasoning dish. We're going to wait for this to become nice and hot before we add the other ingredients to it. The oil is nice and hot, and to this we're going to add the 3 seasoning items, which is basically Jeera, mustard, and red chilies. Now, we want to make sure that the mustard is crackling nicely. This is the basic seasoning items. We've now added curry leaves to it. Now, people also can use cashew nuts and peanuts for seasoning, but because of nut allergies, we are not going to do it today. It's up to you if you would like to use it. Adding a little bit of hing to the seasoning as well. And then we will then add this into the dish that we've already prepared. Mix it nicely so the seasoning is nicely amalgamated into the entire mix. And now the final flavoring agent, which is the ghee that we had kept aside. We'll just add the ghee to this and give it a nice mix. This case is about 2 tablespoons of ghee, and give it a really nice mix into this. We want to make sure that we are mixing it and it doesn't catch in the bottom. Remember the stove is right now at a medium or a little less than a medium flame. And if you reach the right consistency, you can switch it off. And with that, we have Bisi Bele Bhat ready. What we will do now is dish it and be ready to plate it. Bisi Bele Bhat is usually had with some fried applams or papads, and we will plate it later with the papads and show you. Happy cooking, happy eating. Bisi Bele Bhat can also be had with bundi or mixture. Basically anything that is crispy and has a nice spicy flavor to it. Your choice, however you like to eat it. I love it with the Ambika papads, and so my choice. Have fun, guys. We hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Look forward to any suggestions or comments from you, and please do keep supporting us. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, and do press the bell icon so that you can be notified of all our future episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.